Hello, this evening it's 6:30 East African time. I am joined by two distinguished Toastmasters from District 114 of Toastmasters International. Joyce Kaduki, DTM from Kwanza Kenya Toastmasters Club. And then we have Japheth Musau, DTM from the Hill Toastmasters Club. This is part of my Distinguished Toastmaster project that is demystifying Toastmasters. And in this particular interview, we are going to focus on the electives. The electives part of the requirement by Toastmasters International for the DTM Award. Now, Joyce Kaduki, after one has served 1 year, at least a year as a club officer, then 1 year as a district officer, they're still required to do more. And this is in the category of the electives that we have as part of a requirement for a distinguished Toastmaster. Could you kindly enlighten us with which are these specific and how do you choose them? Which are these electives and what goes with what? Briefly, maybe you can let us in on that. Joyce Kaduki.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Wanjiro. The two electives that one is supposed to take is, the first part of it is either to serve as a club mentor or a club coach, and I'll come back to that. And the next one is to either facilitate a youth leadership program or serve as a club sponsor or conduct a speechcraft. Let's go back to the details of what it means to be a mentor or a coach. Now, these are experienced Toastmasters. First of all, the person who mentors a club is one who supports the club for 6 months after charter. And so this is in supporting the club officials and getting meetings going and providing advice to the new officials so that the club is able to build their membership and also to achieve quality. That's the club mentor. For a club coach, this is, again, as I said, an experienced Toastmaster, and this Toastmaster works with a club that may be struggling and one that requires support to achieve membership growth and also to achieve quality. And the club coach works with the club for a longer period of time. So that's a first set. And then back to the second set of the electives is running a youth leadership program. And this is a program which is for people who are under 18 years. And this is to help them develop their communication, public skills, or public speaking skills. And this would normally be organized by a club. So there's an established club which sponsors a program of this manner. There's also a speechcraft, and this is a program which is designed to help people who are not yet Toastmasters members to experience what it means like to be a Toastmaster. So they have the benefit of delivering speeches and taking up roles and having a taste of what it would be to be a Toastmaster, to enjoy those benefits before they make a commitment. And then the third bit of a club sponsor, this is an experienced Toastmaster who helps in the initial setup of the club. So before the club is chartered. And so this involves, it involves putting together the paperwork that will set up the club. It involves organizing club meetings and getting the club up and running. So 6 months up to the charter date. Back to you, Toastmaster Onjiro.
Thank you very much, Kaduki, for bringing us to that understanding of what really it takes to be a distinguished Toastmaster, the requirements of the electives. We've had you either choose to be a mentor or coach and be a sponsor of a club or run a speechcraft or a youth leadership program. And you've gone further to give us more information of what each of those entail. I'm wondering, which of these, Japheth, Musau, have you served in? Which electives? You could have done even all of them, but which did you participate in for the requirement of the award and beyond? And what was your experience? What did you learn through each of these electives that you could have taken in your journey? Musau.
I earned my DTM 3 years ago when the requirements were slightly different. We only had the serving as a club officer, and you had the advanced leader silver, which involved sponsoring a club. So I have sponsored a club for my first DTM. I have sponsored another club. Hopefully we'll use that for my second DTM. I have also run a youth leadership program, and I am currently a club mentor. So I've had an experience with quite a number of those electives.
Fantastic. So you are the old program, what you're calling old program now. There are very few DTMs with the pathways experience program that you're having, but I tend to believe that the experience is the same because it's the nurturing of either clubs or individual members or prospective members or the young ones through the young leadership program. And as I'm getting from the two of you is that every aspect, every program as it is in the electives category has what it has taught you. So what has stood out as lessons or as part of growth, even without considering being a requirement for DTM. Maybe you can quickly tell us what your growth has been, what your growth experience has been when you're serving in these projects, and then Kaduki can take it over from you.
There are quite a number of things that you benefit from participating in these programs. When I took up the club mentor role, it wasn't for my DTM. It was for the experience. And I learned a lot of things like problem resolution, conflict resolution, guiding club officers through understanding the club constitution, understanding how to lead volunteers. Using your own experience, now you're turning around and sharing your learnings, your lessons with new and upcoming leaders within the Toastmasters fraternity. And that is quite fulfilling. When I started the youth leadership program under Kwanza Kenya, again, it was not for my DTM qualification. It was just that thrill of having to work with the youth, help them to understand simple concepts like chairmanship, which is leadership, and communication in the form of the icebreaker and table topics and giving feedback. And it's just wonderful to see these young minds beginning to understand this concept. And the most fulfilling thing is to see a young, timid boy or girl come for the first meeting, and by the time you finish with the 8 sessions, they're about the loudest person in the room, just to show how the Toastmasters method and approach works, even with the juniors. And then to be a club sponsor is quite fulfilling, to see people come in, no idea what Toastmasters is, and within a few months, you guide them and they're able to charter their club. So there's a lot of fulfillment in helping other people discover Toastmasters and use the Toastmasters method to develop themselves, to become better through acquiring leadership and communication skills. besides it earning you credits for your DTM, I would recommend any one of these: youth leadership, club sponsor, club mentor, and all these other electives for personal growth. So that has been my learning and the things I have benefited from participating in these initiatives. And you see they're in two buckets. One bucket is for club growth and development. The other bucket is for taking the Toastmasters experience to people that are not Toastmasters. If you see the youth leadership, if you see the speechcraft, and if you see club sponsor, all these are targeted to people that possibly have not interacted with Toastmasters. Then club mentor and club coach is about club excellence and club growth. Back to you, TM Wanjiru.
Wow, that's fantastic. Before we go to Kaduki, I just want to reiterate on a point of saying that it's not about the award, it's about the opportunity. These programs bring us opportunities to grow through them as we grow others. And for sure, that's what I think we are called to do when Toastmasters, we say it's where leaders are made. Because what's the use of learning everything we learn in Toastmasters and then containing it within us? So when we use these skills to build other young people or peers, using such programs as the speechcraft and the youth leadership is indeed an extra thing. So if you're watching these Toastmasters, don't do it just for the award, but do it because it comes with the fulfillment of the growth that we experience and how we are able to share the growth and help others grow. Kaduki, how has your experience been? Which of these have you taken part in, and what experience can you share out of your participation?
Thank you, Toastmaster Wanjiru. Before I share the ones that I have been involved in, I want to agree with the point highlighted, and that is agreeing with what Toastmaster Japheth said, that it's not about the award. When I took up these different roles, it's because some of my Toastmasters mentors encouraged me to consider supporting the growth of new clubs. And when I looked at what I knew at the time, I realized that there's a lot I had gained throughout my Toastmasters journey, and realized that there was a lot I could give. And because of that, then I went out and supported those new clubs. It's only later that I realized that those roles that I had taken up did count for my DTM award. Now back to the roles that I have taken. I have been a club mentor, that's a Hill Toastmasters club, and I have also sponsored the Diplo Speak Toastmasters club. And there's a lot that I learned and benefited from and acquired. In addition to what Toastmaster Japheth has already said, some of the other benefits I would say, and they span across both continuing to develop your communication skills and leadership skills. So when we go to communication, you make a number of presentations, you run meetings. And so there's the learning the skills about running effective meetings, there's planning, there's coordination, you're working with teams, because this is not something that you can do alone. And you're bringing both the new officials and also prospective members together. There's building teamwork, there's motivating people, and there's negotiating. Sometimes you want to encourage the new members, some of who are reluctant about what it means to take up the different roles, or the new members to take up a speaking slots, and to encourage them so that they see the benefit. So there's a lot of people management skills that come into play. And so you really grow all around, and you do this in an environment where you're doing it to help the club both build new membership, but also to start building quality within the clubs. And so there's a lot that you learn and grow in. Back to you, Toastmaster Wanjiru.
Good membership in the clubs and also quality. Yes, when someone mentions quality, it gets me because everything we do at the end of the day, we need not do it for the purpose of ticking a box and saying that's done. But in Toastmasters, that's also why we encourage peer evaluation and feedback, but also self evaluation. How have I grown through a mentorship role? How have I grown through a coaching role? And to just summarize it, we have had, or we are saying that for the electives, you have to either serve as a mentor or coach, and mentorship involves holding the hands of a new club, the executive, and the club at large for at least 6 months for them to have a footing and be able to lead the clubs to what we call excellence. And then a coach works with a struggling club, a club that has had challenges with membership, with quality, and all the challenges that we can talk about to help them get to what we call distinguished. And that's why when you can say you've successfully served as a coach. And then there's the second elective where you can either be a sponsor, which is identifying an opportunity to start a club and then go ahead and do that. You start a club up to the point of charter, and then you can say you have served successfully as a club sponsor. But then there are these two programs, that's the Speechcraft and the Youth Leadership Program, that I feel in my observation is not very common. Maybe it is for the clubs that are a bit older, they are within Nairobi, but I haven't observed much of it for the clubs outside Nairobi. And Japheth, Musau haven't taken part of in these programs. What could you help maybe demystify what really they entail? Do we lack information or do we lack encouragement to take up these two particular projects, or what is it really? So could you shed some light and guide Toastmasters on what these two programs entail and the importance of actually embracing them and carrying them out? Musau.
Thank you very much. I had your question right. You're asking about the speechcraft and the youth leadership, demystifying the two. The youth leadership, as rightly explained by DTM Joyce, is targeting young people under the age of 18 who cannot become Toastmasters, and they're taken through an 8-module program where they learn 2 key things, which is chairmanship and communication. You start by teaching them about group dynamics. How does a group come together? And if there's a problem, how do you find a solution? There has to be a leader that coordinates everybody. So what's the role of this leader as a chairman? And as they do that, in a role play situation, they start to understand what it is to lead. They learn a little bit of parliamentary procedure as well. How to run a meeting, how to give everybody an equal chance to contribute. They also learn things like table topics, impromptu speaking, and they also learn how to put together an icebreaker. Tell people about yourself in 4 to 5 minutes. And it's very exciting to have to work with these young people, to see them grasp the concepts, and within a few weeks, they're up and running. The other is the speechcraft. It's more targeted to corporates or social organizations that are interested in developing communication skills mainly. And the good thing is Toastmasters has upgraded this in pathways, and now it is digital. You can have either a fully virtual speechcraft, or you can have a hybrid, both virtual and in person. And you can track everything online. It has even made it much, much better for anyone in any part of the world or the country to run a speechcraft program.
Oh, thank you very much. In very simple terms, you have managed to actually encourage me to consider running one of the two. I've always told myself I need to. I feel like I have it in me to use those two programs to take advantage and coach and mentor and enlighten the young ones. So thank you very much for demystifying that. I'm sure the Toastmasters listening in can now understand, well, it's not that difficult after all. You just need to purpose to do it. And I'm sure the materials for both programs are available by Toastmasters International. So what we all need to is to be deliberate about it and then get the materials and maybe work with our fellow Toastmasters, can make it a club thing where you organize and run a youth leadership program and the like. I am challenged and encouraged to make it happen, maybe a speechcraft or a youth leadership program. So thank you very much for demystifying that, Japheth. I know the two of you have already shared some of the growth and benefits that come with all these electives projects. But I'm sitting here and I'm looking at a Toastmaster who is saying, this feels like too much work. Go through all 2 parts, then I have to serve a year, then another year. And then in addition to that, someone really wants me to have to go ahead and be a mentor or a coach or a sponsor or run this program. So looking at what you started with, looking beyond the requirement of distinguished Toastmaster, which is key if you want to get there. But what would you say should be the motivation of Toastmasters to embrace being out there to mentor, to sponsor new clubs, to coach, and to run these programs? What would you say should be the motivation so that we're not just telling Toastmasters, look out there for a club to mentor for you to become a distinguished Toastmaster? What would you really say is an innate motivation that comes with it? Kaduki, maybe you can start off.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Wanjiru. I would say it varies from person to person. And I want to speak about myself because there's the reason why I came to Toastmasters. And this was to grow and develop my public speaking skills. But after I joined, I found that after confident to stand before a crowd and to make a speech in public, I realized that there was more that I could benefit from. And this opened my eyes. I saw there was developing my leadership skills, and I embraced this and started taking up roles and have been able to grow through that. And then there's also continuing to develop the communication. So over and above gaining the confidence to be able to stand before a group of people and make a presentation, got to realize that there's so much that comes to even making an effective presentation. There's the structure, the gestures, there's the vocal variety, and well, many different aspects. There's the research and getting to know how to come across as an authority. So there is a lot. And so what I would say is, when you're looking to motivate someone, why should someone be involved in Toastmasters? And it's answering the question, what do I want and why do I want to be a part of it? And so there's the personal growth. So at the personal level, there's the growth that comes in. I mean, the opportunities are so many. And then there's giving back to others, because you gain and you also help others grow. And I look at it in those two ways. So 2 tracks, the personal growth, but also helping, giving from what you have received. There's a lot of satisfaction which comes with that. Back to you, Toastmaster Wanjiru.
Thank you, Kaduki. That's amazing. I'm listening to you and I'm going to the why. It's important to know your why. Why are you a Toastmaster in the first place? Why did you join? But also, it is very necessary for you to stay open to the growth of your why. Because so many, just like you said, you joined Toastmaster to build confidence for public speaking. But then once you're there, you realize there's so much more in Toastmasters. So it's important that you know, why am I stepping into this space? But then the opportunities to grow and serve are endless. So it's important to be open to how your why can expand. And I think we can be amazed by the growth that comes with it and the impact in your personal and also professional space. So thank you for bringing that out, that people need to be motivated by their why, but also by the necessity to really give back, because this project of mentoring and coaching are really giving back. You can call yourself a partner of Toastmasters International. They brought this to you, so why not take it to someone else and bring them into the fold? So thank you very much. That's interesting, Kaduki. Musau, what did you say? What motivates you to do these things? And could it be something that you can pass along to motivate another Toastmaster somewhere?
I would say it's something beside either the personal, community, or Toastmaster benefit. It would be the simplicity of doing it. If I may backtrack, you mentioned the materials that are provided. For example, to run a youth leadership, there's a facilitator guide book. There are participants guidebooks as well. And you just need to follow module by module. It's not things that you're coming up with from your mind. It's already been designed for you, and that makes it very easy to do. The other thing that makes it easy to do is you have a team. If you're coordinating a youth leadership, you will be coordinating other facilitators who you work together to deliver the program. The same thing with a speech craft. You have a team. Even when you're a sponsor or a mentor, you're working through the EXCO, the executive committee of the club, helping them figure out how to do member surveys, how to ensure they're delivering value, how to make sure they're creating the kind of club environment that will attract and retain members. In all these situations, you find you have teams that you're working with the teams, with the manuals provided by Toastmasters International, which are very concise and clear. It makes it easy to do. And the third thing that makes it easy to do is the fact that you don't have to stop, say, giving speeches, attending clubs, to do sponsoring, mentoring. You can run it alongside your other Toastmasters activities, and you find it becomes part of your extracurricular, if you may, while in Toastmasters. It's not something you say, I'm going to finish my first path, second path, and then I look at the electives. You can run with them concurrently. And that makes your participation in Toastmasters more of a value to you, and you get to fill up the gaps in between. You'll not always get a time and a space to speak in the club. So what you do with the rest of the time, you can fill it up with sponsoring a new club, mentoring a club that needs help, running a youth leadership, and you find that the skills that you're learning within Toastmasters are getting a ready platform where you can apply them. I would say, therefore, the simplicity, the ease with which you can do these things should also be one of the motivating factors that should attract somebody to participate in them. Back to you, Toastmaster Wanjiru.
Wow, it's so easy to do. So why not just do it? I love that approach, actually. And Musau has told us Toastmasters International has made it easy by providing the materials and the guidance that you need. And then our fellow Toastmasters, the networks across the board where you can form teams and all, makes it further easy. And then further, it becomes easier because you can always do it as the extra, the hobby within Toastmasters. As you do your pathways programs, as you're a president of a club serving your ear or in the district, coaching or mentoring is not something you're doing full-time 24/7. It's having a club somewhere, you're hand holding, so you attend their meetings, you talk to the exco. So Musau, you're making it look so easy. You're making me remember the times I did these. If it felt that easy, but if I'm to be honest, it depends on how you look at it. If you want to look at it as this complicated giant thing, it will be complicated. But if you want to simplify it and use the resources that are at hand in terms of people and the material given by Toastmasters International, you can ace it very, very easily. I am honored to have had you, Japheth Musau, and Joyce Kaduki take us through the electives requirement of being a distinguished Toastmaster. And just to mention them, you can either be a mentor or coach and sponsor a club or run a speechcraft or a youth leadership program. It is my hope that people who will watch Toastmasters across the board who will watch this interview, listening to your experiences and your guidance, will be more encouraged to take up these roles, not just as a requirement for DTM, but for the growth that you have confidently shared that comes with it. I don't know if any of you has a parting shot. If you are looking at a mentee, if you are talking to a mentee through this video, what would you tell them in terms of going after the DTM or the opportunities that are available in Toastmasters for growth and for giving back? What would you tell them, Kaduki?
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Wanjiro. Having walked the path, and there are many who went their way before me, and knowing that others have done it is clear testimony that anyone can do it. And the ladies and gentlemen who have taken that path are ladies and gentlemen who are balancing multiple plates, both in their personal lives and professional lives, and they have been able to do it. A number of them have done it multiple times, so multiple DTMs, which tells you that it's doable. So that's part of it, that if others have done it, and with so much going on in their lives, then anybody can do it. The other part of it is once you come in, and of course, having come with your why, and at some point you will be able to accomplish the reason that brought you to Toastmasters, but don't stop there. Open your eyes and you will realize that there's so much more that you can do. And my encouragement would be to take advantage, both in terms of continuing to develop yourself, but also to invest in others. I like to say that freely we have received and freely we should give. And that gives you joy. It gives even more growth, gives a lot of satisfaction. And so we are able to share that gift that we ourselves have received. Back to you, Toastmaster Wanjiro.
Thank you very much. Your mentees are lucky, but many more are lucky who will watch this video. Musau, your parting shot.
I would say, by all means, leave nothing on the table. Go for the DTM. You will grow immensely. The electives is where you bring it all together. You've been learning communication, you've been learning leadership, you've done a few projects on coordinating and implementing a project. When you come to the electives, this is where you are now really applying those learnings. I would therefore urge anybody that's a small hog. I have really been, and for some reason, not being able to go all the way and take the full benefit that has been availed by Toastmasters International. I would therefore urge anybody listening, watching, to go the whole hog, take all the mandatory plus the electives. By the time you get the distinguished Toastmaster, you will have personally benefited so much. But again, like DTM Joyce has said, you will also have given back to individuals, to communities, and to Toastmasters International, to whom we owe all this for having come up with such a wonderful program. So I'm so glad and grateful to have been part of this. Thank you very much. DTM 10 for giving me the opportunity to share this. And I hope it will help a lot of people to have the zest and the zeal to go after the DTM. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you too. It has been a pleasure. I'm honored to have you. And indeed, I also hope it will encourage many more to go for it. And when you say leave nothing on the table, which was our former district director's Harry Karanja DTM theme for last year, you also remind me that he encouraged us to look at DTM as doing the most, DTM. And that wraps it all when we say we don't have to do it for the awards. We are doing it to grow ourselves and grow others. So I hope we go further and do the most towards our journey of DTM as Musau and Kaduki are here. But also, more importantly, I hope we go to do it for our growth and growth of others. Thank you very much, Musau and Kaduki, for joining me in this interview. And it is my pleasure to have had you here and wishing you all the best as you continue serving your fellow Toastmasters, your families, your friends, the places of work. And remember to stay safe. This COVID is real. So let us all stay safe wherever we are and keep others safe. Thank you very much and have a good time.